happening with Libya, you know, I think about Colonel Gaddafi. I know you all have had great relationships. I think about the fact that when he supported the ANC, when this country was still supporting the apartheid government in South Africa, and then when you look at it, the populace of Libya has more money per capita than any other country in the continental African continent. So, you know, it's an interesting thing here.
Well, Muammar Gaddafi and the problem in Libya is much more complex than what the news is saying. Muammar Gaddafi has always been hated by Western, European, neo-colonial, imperialistic governments. That man, Muammar Gaddafi, came to power in Libya, not in a coup that killed people. It was a bloodless coup. And when he took power, America was there. Britain was there. They had bases there. They controlled the sweetest crude oil in the world from Libya. And if you notice, when you go to the Marine song, you know,
Halls of Montezuma.
From the halls of Montezuma
to
the shores of Tripoli,
right.
We will fight our country's battle on the land and on the sea. What were you doing in Montezuma, and what were you doing in Tripoli? See, this attitude that somehow Western powers have a right to the resources of weaker nations in Africa, in Central and South America, Gaddafi rejected that notion. And under Reagan, he was called, the media called him the mad dog of the East, of the Middle East. Mad dog. Well, what do you do with mad dogs? You killed them. And I told you in 1985, I had an experience that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to me, on that wheel, you take it or let it alone. That Reagan had met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war. He didn't tell me where the war was going to take place or who the war was planned against. But he told me to hold a press conference and make it known that I got it from him, Elijah Muhammad, on the wheel. Well, I didn't know exactly where this war was, but I kept watching how things developed. And while I was on a world tour, I was in Belize in Central America, and President Reagan came on the television announcing that no Americans should go to Libya. No Americans should do business with Libya. That's when it started. When I got to Africa, by the time I was in Ghana, it crystallized for me that it was Libya that America was going to war with. So when I got to Benin, I sent my family home and got on a Aeroflot Russian jet and flew to Tripoli to warn Brother Gaddafi of what America was planning to do. Yes, I did that. Why? Because that man was a friend of the nation. He was a friend of Elijah Muhammad. He helped Elijah Muhammad get the mosque on Stony Island Avenue originally. He loaned us $5 million to put personal care products up for the members of the Nation of Islam. And I know him as a revolutionary. I know him as a man that has helped governments throughout Africa. He helped the IRA. He helped others. So others did not like him for his revolutionary stand. He finally kicked out the British. He kicked out the Americans. He took the oil and then used it for the benefit of the Libyan people. And he wrote in his green book that he saw the future of the world in the hands of black people.
We'll be back. That's a good segue into my next question. Okay. Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable, is in our studio, and we are going to be taking calls. You can also go to Facebook.
More intelligent conversation with the governor of Talk Radio.
It is 4:55. I'm Cliff Kelly on the Talk of Chicago as we continue our conversation with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that sweet violin you heard was him. that was the minister. Not my favorite piece that you did. I love Mendelssohn when you did that. But that was a great event for your birthday.
I'm just completing an album.
Oh, are you?
And on that album, the minister is surrounded by some of the greatest musicians, black, white, Jewish, Gentile, Asian, Buddhist.
You know why I'm so happy to hear that? Because I know what happened last time. I was involved in that meeting. Remember that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. These folks supposedly were going to accompany you, and they pulled out, and we had a heck of a conversation relative to that. But a lot of them came anyway. Yeah.
We had a great evening.
Yeah, we
and
did.
I hope
it was wonderful
that you'll be looking out for the album.
Well, you know
when
I will.
It comes out, because some of the finest artists. Do you remember little Jimmy Scott?
Sure, certainly.
Well, we recorded Jimmy. He was 83 years old. We recorded Shaka, and the last person, believe it or not, when we were doing something with Shaka in Hollywood, into the studio walked, Tina Marie.
Oh, okay.
And Tina presented me with a poster, not a poster, a painting that she did while she was going up and down the Nile River. And she gave me a record, and she said, Minister, I just want to be on your album. I mean, you'd be surprised who's on it. And so she gave me this record, or CD, and when I was back in Michigan at the farm, my son and I were driving, and he said, Daddy, you need to listen to this. And it was Tina Marie singing a song called A Message to the Black Man. Wow. And so by the grace of God, Tina may be on that album, and I'm going to put a violin part on there with her. And unfortunately, we lost a great soul. But getting back to Muammar Gaddafi.
Yeah, I'm saying the music threw us off, yeah.
Dear listeners, look, whatever you may think of him, most of our thinking of great black men or white men that power does not agree with, the media has always been used to destroy their image and their reputation. You can go down the list. I don't want to waste a lot of time on that. But Gaddafi had so much respect for Gamal Abdel Nasser and Osajifo Kwame Nkrumah that when the African, the AAU
right.
Was functioning, Gaddafi advanced to the AAU the idea of Kwame Nkrumah, which is the United States of Africa.
Right.
And I was with Gaddafi when he said to the people of the AAU, we cannot compete in this world with 53 independent states all acting individually. So he spent money to foster the African Union, leading to the United States of Africa.
And he's the head of the AU now.
No, he was.
Oh, he's not anymore.
2 years ago. It's
Okay.
only on a yearly
Yeah.
basis.
Okay, I know he was. I didn't know whether he still was or
So
not.
to harm
Yeah.
this man, because you're angry with him, I know, I want to get, when this break is over,
Yeah.
I want to get to the pain of civil war.
We will do that right after we come back. And those of you on the line, please hold. And you can also go to Facebook. I'm Cliff Kelly on WVON, the Talk of Chicago, with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.